Walker. I was just wondering, what does Black History Month mean to you, and why is it important?
You know, Maggie, Black History Month isn't just for Black people. It's for white people too. And that's why I'm really proud of this production. Not only because of the diversity of the cast, but because of the message it sends, looking back where we've come from so we know where we need to go.
I feel like Black History Month is important because it's basically preserving our history. Black history to me is the struggles of our ancestors to get me privileges that I have now, like attending this great school.
So I think it's important for people to get a part of American history that they normally don't understand or know a lot about. And it adds another aspect to our really diverse history.
Well, as Americans, we tend to look toward our history to find out how we became America, what generally makes us American. And as an African American, I think it's important for us to go back into our ancestry, since we don't have more historical documents for us to look to, since we are not from this continent. So I think it's important for us to understand, for all of us as Americans, to understand the different cultures between all of us, not just for Black History Month, but for every history month.
To me, Black history is the untold stories of the tens of millions of people that have lived throughout the centuries, completely unknown to most of society in the world. So for me, Black History Month is about hearing those stories and understanding them from a different perspective.
It's important to me because I know a lot of people feel like, it should be year-round and we shouldn't really need Black History Month in February, because everybody should just celebrate every day. You should think about what people before us have done for you to have every day. But a lot of people, even Black Americans that come from this history, they don't care. A lot of them don't care. And I feel like if we did do that nobody would know about it. It's people that it's things they should know about their history. It's so many things that so many people died and put themselves and their families in danger for us to be able to do what we can, to even just come to school. So I just feel like for people to just do that, that's messed up.
Well, for me, I believe it should be year-round, because I don't feel like there should be just a month dedicated to one specific heritage. That's just me.
Black history means pretty much Black triumph and success through their oppression, and definitely has a lasting impression on how we live today, especially, in every aspect. For me, especially music, a big thing. So favorite singer is Prince, and he's Black, and I'm so happy that he got the chance to just be out there and have his music be presented to all of America.
Black History Month is important to me because as an African American student, it's essential to know about your ancestral history. It's also important to know the fact that you can't move on in the future without knowing about your past. Many times kids aren't educated on their African American history in school, so it's always important to recognize Black History Month as a month of significance to us. And that's why Black History Month is important to me.
I actually believe that Black history should be integrated in all months, considering the fact that they're not a different part of American history. They're just a separate part, if that makes sense. Personally, I believe that Black history should be expanded for more than just a month, more than just a week, it should be integrated in studies in general. And I believe that everybody should be accustomed to the Black roots that everyone has, especially in American culture.
To me, Black history means just learning about all the struggles that we went through to get to where we are in the present day. So it's a very nice month.
I think it's important to remember everything that people had to go through in order to just become equal. And actually, I think that everyone History Month should be every month.
Black History Month. I feel like Black History Month, to me, it's kind of like getting the recognition that we need, because we went through so many years of being thought of as low and being segregated, being called names, being judged just by the way we look. And now, finally, we live in a world where people can look past the fact that my skin color is different, and they can look into me and, talk to me. And even though we can't make up for all the time that we had.
One of the most important things that it shows is progress especially in terms of the civil rights movement, and it really shows how society has the capacity to grow and improve. So it brings awareness to culture that obviously has influences through just about everything in American culture, and also the learning about the aspect of slavery and that sort of history is very important, because if we don't remember some of the bad things that have happened in the history, then it's harder to keep improving.
Well, I think today in 2012, Black history is still underrepresented and omitted facet from not only history books but really American life. When we look at African American history, we have to remember that it is a part of American history. So when we really take an in-depth look and study Black history, we see that it's really a battle of struggles. We see people coming over and constantly being degraded and put down, and yet we come up again, and we move on to the 19th century, and we see more of that, and we move on to the civil rights movement. And so really I think Black history is really just an amazing history, because you see a group of people come together when everyone was against them. And Black History Month, well, I think that's an interesting dichotomy. On one hand, we have the month where people say it's the shortest month and we celebrate Black history. And on the other hand, we have this month where we take time to celebrate a history that's really a part of the history we celebrate all year. But I think we have to remember what Dr. Carter G. Woodson wanted to say when he founded Black History Week, is really just to commemorate the achievements of people that never really got the credit they deserve.
Black history, I think it's very important to just know the struggles that certain ethnicities faced in this great nation. I mean, for most of the time that the U.S. has been around, there has been racism and prejudices against African Americans, and I feel it's, especially now that we've, to some extent, gotten past that, I think it's very important that we look back over it and learn from our mistakes so as to not repeat history. And that's just basically it. The struggle, Panther Power.
Or just Black history in general has always been something I've always been passionate about, even from when I was younger. Growing up, I was always frustrated, angry, sad, because I didn't see any people from my culture represented in the media and society, and then in school and, classes. You would get, we were slaves, and then there was the civil rights movement, and there was nothing in between to represent, the stories, the fact that we were artists, entertainers, we were poets, we were scientists, inventors. We were average people who were, making a living and building up a community where, we felt validated and we had support. And so all through school, I would always try to bring my culture in or bring my history in whenever there was space to do that. I brought this because when I was in 11th grade, I wrote a little article to our local paper about the fact that, again, our history wasn't represented in, in class and school. And it wasn't until college that, even though I did outside reading and I would, watch movies and my parents would expose me to other different things, it wasn't until college that actually, in education, in an educational setting, that I actually, was able to really learn more and realize, oh my goodness, there's so much I didn't know. I think that Black History Month is important. There are a lot of arguments that say otherwise, but it's important because until our stories are fully represented in society, and we realize that there's a lot to our history and how much it's a part of American history. Until that story is fully shown and demonstrated, we need a space to highlight that. I think the question shouldn't be why should we have it? It's we have it and we still don't have those stories represented. What would happen if we didn't have Black History Month?